Hello, everybody. We're back at it once again here at Motorsport Days Live, the Motorsport Trade Networking event. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Hope you're getting to grips with our platform and hopping about from table to table, getting some good conversations going. A lot of you are obviously, as much as I am, mad fans for the British Touring Car Championship. So we thought we'd give you some British Touring Car chat to start your 2021 season. We're talking very much, the title of this is from a technical viewpoint. So we are going to talk a little bit on the technical side, but we're also going to talk about the ins and outs of how British touring cars are likely to operate in 2021 as it returns. So in order to do that, we've got two of the men who know best about how it's all cooking up. The commercial director for Ciceley Motorsport, Norman Burges, and we're also joined by the team manager and technical director at PowerMax Racing, Martin Broadhurst. Norm, Martin, Happy New Year to you. Great to have you here, and hope you're enjoying the show so far. Hope you're enjoying your show.
Hi, Jake. Good to be here.
Yeah, Jake, fantastic. Great idea, and Martin and I are glad to be able to do our little bit to support this event and keep our little community going.
Fantastic stuff.
It's tough to speak to people when it's like it is at the moment, so I think it's a great idea, this, really.
It certainly is. I mean, we're all missing that January back scratch of going to an exhibit in person, so this is a good way to wipe the cobwebs off, even through COVID-19 problems. Let's get into it. Well, first of all, Norman, things have changed a little bit at Ciceley Motorsport since we saw you guys last out on track in 2020. There have been a few changes, both in the garage and out. Just give us a little bit of an update so far, a little bit of a refresher.
Yeah, we've been very fortunate in that we built the Mercedes A-Class 7 years ago. We started building it. We've been racing it for 6, and it's remained competitive. I think it would be true to say that the Mercedes was more of a race winner than a championship contender. And as we've grown as a team, I think we now see ourselves as, same as Martin, there's always been Dynamics and WSR that have been at the top of the tree, but all of a sudden these smaller teams are now chomping at the bit, and we needed a car which I think could actually, contend for the championship. With the hybrid era coming next year, Mr. Gow's still pressing ahead with that, as he's made commitments to people outside the championship. There's an amount of expense added to all the teams moving forward in 2022. So it seemed like a good year to get to know the car. We believe that rear-wheel drive is the way forward. We're going to have to spend a fair investment in the team anyway to keep competing at this level. So it seemed like a good idea to change the cars this year, and WSR kindly have built us 2 cars. They come in with brand new components, push-button start. The only thing that will be second hand of them are our radios. And that in turn has enabled us to entice Tom Chilton to the team. So no disrespect to any other driver, because we've always seemed to have attracted rookie drivers, being a rookie team, if you will. So we've now got a driver who's capable of beating Adam, and I'm sure Martin and everybody will agree. When I look at our 2 drivers and look at everybody else's drivers so far, I do believe that we've got probably one of the best driver pairings in the championship, with 2 drivers that are capable of winning races.
Sounds good, Norm. Gauntlet thrown down, Martin. Obviously, things at PowerMax Racing. You've got a nice battle plan, I'm sure, for racing victories and a great title attack in 2021. Tell us what life is like at PMR.
So, like Norman said, there has been some bigger teams, or what are considered bigger teams, to be the people to sort of go against. We've built this up over the last 5 years or so to where it is at the moment. Manufacture our own chassis in-house, do majority in-house, to be honest, and to give that the best shot we can at competing with these guys. Budgets are always a difficult bit to get sorted out, as Norman will back me up on. But, we're going into the season. We've had a difficult year last year whereby, we had to make a decision to step out, and then we ended up going back in with 1 car only to meet our obligations. But the winter, although is here, the winter's been very strong. We're flat out on development and building the cars up ready for the new season, just to hit the ground running when we start.
So obviously now we go into a new era, essentially, with the British Touring Car Championship. As we all know, the hybrid era is coming in. Norman, give us a bit of an indication from your side and your perspective how it's looking and how it's going to evolve the championship, how it's going to change things a little bit. What can we hope to expect as it evolves?
Obviously, all this was agreed before the C word, and there is an amount of expense, but I do 100% believe that the British Touring Car Championship platform is able to handle manufacturer input. And for us to be able to attract that, I do believe that we have to go hybrid. For a team, it's always very simple that you get a price. For example, I'm not going to say what it is because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but say that it was £30,000 for the unit. The problem that teams have is that every time we get new components that have to require to be added to the car, we have to go testing. And whichever way you go around it with your Howard parts and your engineers' wages and the trucks and everything, you're looking at probably in between £10,000 and £15,000 to go testing, because they're also testing new components. So every time the car comes in, it should really have new tyres thrown at it and new brakes put on it to see just what the difference is on them components and to ensure you're getting the best of them. And you're not left behind by the better funded teams at the beginning of the season because they've had more chance to test the parts. So the best thing about the hybrid and the best thing about RML and GPRM and everything that Alan Gow does is that it presents a new challenge. COVID presented a new challenge last year. We all got on with it. None of us complained. Martin and his team had probably the most difficult task of getting the car out each and every weekend. We were fortunate we'd signed a new sponsorship deal and they stood by us, which was unexpected. It was very welcome. But, you know, I think a lot of investors in the team and partners knew they weren't going to get what they'd paid for, and rightly so. They decided to step back for a year and see what goes. So, but it was yet again another challenge, and we all have to get over it. And the grid's full again this year. So challenges are a bad thing, and changes are a bad thing. But it's just expensive.
That's it. Well, it's the same issue for everybody, isn't it? And I'm sure, Martin, you know, you can talk from experience. 2020 was hard. It was tough. One of the things that I think people really warmed to Powermax Racing about last year was you used that opportunity, obviously, to fulfill obligations contractually, but you also decided to give drivers who were looking to get into the British Touring Car an opportunity to step in. I mean, there were some great one-offs that you were able to provide to people, such as Jade Edwards, to Brad Philpott, to Jessica Hawkins. There were some great cameos that you were able to give to people while also getting cars on the grid under difficult circumstances.
Yeah, there was. And whilst it was hard, and like Norman's already explained, you know, some of the partners from last year have had to roll forward to this year. So again, that limits budgets to an extent this year as well. But what we did last year by getting some of those drivers out on the grid as shown in the press this morning, that it's given, you know, certainly put some people a bit more on the map in terms of being able to get a drive. And, you know, credit to Jade, she's gone out there and got herself a slot where she wants to be. And I hope she has a great season in doing what she wants to do and what she loves doing. But I think, you know, we have seen some potential talents come through on certain weekends, and again, it's opened some doors for those people as well. And that might not necessarily be this season, but, you know, they might be talking to us now for 12 months or 2 years, and they might step back into the championship in, you know, 2023. So it has been good in that respect. It was painful during the year. I mean, a lot of people don't realise behind the scenes there's so much paperwork goes on with changing drivers that, you know, even just that in itself takes up hours of people's time in sending off forms to TOCA and all sorts of things, as well as getting approvals. So that's, you know, that takes its toll as well. But, you know, the financials is ultimately none of us can afford to go racing if we haven't got the right budgets in place. And it is a commercial thing at the end of the day to be in this championship and at the pinnacle of British motorsport. But it's got to be paid for somehow.
This is so true. This is so true. And, you know, there are so many challenges that we're still seeing every day as the world situation continues to evolve and the British situation comes to evolve. Norm, you talked about the difficulty of, you know, the fact that obviously this was agreed before the world pandemic situation came into being, and obviously the challenge is still there to be met. Just how big an obstacle has it been, but also what are the benefits of making it work?
We've just had to change the way that we do business. As the commercial director of the team, my job is to make sure that any partnership is beneficial to us both. So this year we have not had guests at the track. So we've had to find ways of ensuring that we are able to fill our obligations away from the track. Tetrasil, who is my title sponsor, Carloop, they sell massive of tea-coats, triple wax, a big company. Exactly the same kind of things that Power Max do, same sort of products. And you've just got to find other avenues where you can assist them. Tomorrow, Mac Tools have been a sponsor for 5 years. Tomorrow, we've set downstairs up in the garage. We've got our GT4 car, 2 toolboxes either side, a backdrop, and Adam and I will be from 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock handing out virtual awards to the franchisee of the year for Mac Tools. On the same kind of platform as this. We've been building cars that are coming out of walls in distribution centres, using the front end of our cars. We've generated quite a lot of business B2B through the team, so we've had lots more time to do that. And it's just ensuring that your service levels don't drop, even though you can't offer the service that you was paid to do. I mean, you know, what Martin's achieved at Farmax this year is 60,000 people, for example, who ever attend the BTCC track, have been sat at home watching television. And by putting drivers such as Jade in the car and young people who the public have never heard about, they've brought something to the championship as well as to the team. And I think the TV coverage this year has been phenomenal, better than any other year. I don't know if ITV threw more money at it or it was just better because easier for them because there's no spectators. But I think as a championship and as individual teams, we've still managed to provide massively high service levels, even though it was on a different platform than what we agreed to do. And if your sponsor's happy, then the team's happy. So it's been difficult. There's been a lot of 18-hour days where we've been travelling up and down the country and doing things which we never thought we'd end up doing, but you just have to do what you can to make sure that you keep the man with the checkbook happy.
I think Norman touched there on the TV. You know, after we'd been and done race weekends, and you sit back and watch it at home, from the TV aspect, you couldn't really tell there was no spectators there. So you know, the TV job was great, and that, you know, but the TV is a massive tool in our toolbox, Norm, isn't it?
You're massive, yes. Yeah. That's the. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, but I'm sure that Mr. Gow has done something with ITV that ensures that we have to go hybrid. I mean, TV rules our entire weekends, from when we push the cars out the garage to having flags up on the truck to having the teams all in the same clothes. Everything is about the TV. And we have now, thankfully, we employ a full-time social media executive, which again is a fantastic tool, especially this year, because it's a means where we can quantify what we're actually doing for our supporters, for our partners. It's with interactions, and you can actually take it down to sales. And so social media has been a massive help through this pandemic as well, in us being able to justify our existence.
Yeah.
It is fascinating, and obviously we're going through an interesting phase now. If anybody has any questions for Martin and Norm, when we sit down again after the conversation, we'll be in the post conversation table just off to the side of the stage. I'm sure there'll be a few more questions that both Martin and Norman can answer. One of the ones I have for you guys, obviously with this 2021 season, I'll start with you, Martin. Obviously, this is going to be an interesting year for many different reasons. Obviously, we have, you know, issues with the exit of the European Union. COVID-19 is still going. We're all still trying to adapt to it. And obviously we saw a year where, Jason obviously took a year off. He's now, from what we hear, is going to be coming back. How many teammates is he going to have this year? We still don't know. How is that all going to work? I mean, is it going to be a similar program to 2020, or is it going to be very different with the hybrid coming in? Have you changed things a lot for this year?
So separating the things there, obviously hybrid is coming in 22, not 21. So separating those things, we are already working on hybrid because it's very labour intensive at the moment to know what we need to do for that. And then go back to your other question about Jason. Yeah, he is ready to come back, and it will be a 2-car assault, and we're working on his teammate at the moment. Okay. So there's nothing to be announced there, but we are working on that, and it will be a full assault. Like I say, we put so much work in the winter that the same as most other teams, we only do this with one goal, and that is winning races, which then hopefully leads to winning the championship. Our guys, as I'm sure Norm's guys do, it is their life and soul. It's not a job. They don't come in at 9 and go home at 5 o'clock. They live and breathe what we do. And the characters have to be like that as well, because we're all such small teams that there's so much work goes on between the race weekends that, you can't do it within the normal hours of work. You have to go the extra yards to be successful and have that edge of competitiveness, to be honest.
Norm, can you add to that from your side?
I can. I've, like Martin, been around motorsport for my entire life, and I was with British Superbikes and MotoGP before I came to British Touring Cars. And I've got to be honest, I thought 10 race weekends with a car over an entire year would be a breeze. I thought it was a money for nothing job 8 years ago when I came. I really can't, and I can't even give an explanation as to why, even now in winter, we are still, as Martin says, we are in here at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I think not last night, the night before, it was 9:45 before I left to go home. Where the work comes from, I've got absolutely no idea. But Adam and I, we do a bit of racing in China. Again, the wages that Adam and the winning money goes into the team, the prize money, should I say. Adam and I, the year before, 47 weekends, which in actual fact, 47 weeks of work.
Goodness.
And away, one of them, we had to go to America with a sponsor. And then we had 2 races in China and 2 BTC races. And I've been married for 30 years, and I was away from home for 11 weeks.
Wow. You thought Formula One teams had it hard, folks.
where the amount of work comes from, sure, Martin, none of us know where this workload comes from, but we are constantly running around putting out fires. Constantly.
Yeah, I agree on that. And, okay, in my role and Noel's role to an extent, there are times where you can go, right, I'm out of here at 5 o'clock tonight, but you guarantee once you get home, you've picked the laptop back up and you're still doing a load of work till 10 o'clock at night. So at home. Obviously, the guys on the shop floor don't have that luxury, so they can't take the car home with them to do their bit. But, people don't understand how small we operate. And in the workshop, we've only got 4 guys full-time doing car stuff, and then we've got a fabricator. And then the other bits are ancillaries, myself and PR, sort of sales type, similar to Norm in a way. The teams are so small, and there's no stone left unturned on preparation, that these cars are stripped back to nothing after every race weekend.
Well, this is one of the sides of the sport that I always feel usually gets undervalued and certainly is underappreciated. I mean, all of the focus is on the drivers and the racing on the circuit, but the guys that do all of the hard work, and obviously the teams that put their blood and soul and sweat into the sport, is what makes it operate. And you guys can talk from a very unique perspective as to just how much there still is to do to prepare for a season. With this being the 11th season under NGTC, the Next Generation Touring Car Regulations, it is going to be a fascinating one, especially as it will be the last before hybrid. Norm, what can we expect from this last year of transitional motor racing of this ilk?
the GPR, the components on the car. I think that we're now into our 3rd or 4th year with RML. Is it 4th year starting, Martin?
Yeah, 17 was it?
Yeah. I think, and we're now all at the level where there is thousands of seconds between the cars. I think everybody has explored every avenue, unless you've got a new platform like we have with the BMW this year. We couldn't do anything else with our Mercedes. We were at its. Improving it further would have been nigh on impossible because everything's been explored. And I think last year, again, I don't know off the top of my head, I probably should do, but was there 13 different race winners?
I think there was, yeah.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
And again, I keep talking about Mr. Gow as if I like him, but he has somehow managed, I think I can safely say that in all... I look at other championships like the British Superbike Championship, which has a shootout, which is horrific as far as I'm concerned, because there is 9 races at the end of the year, which can totally change the outcome of who is the actual champion throughout the year. And there's other riders getting in the mix because they want to make a name for themselves. Yeah. But somehow, with the ballast and with the different compound tyres that we have to use and all the other regulations that Lord Gow puts into this championship, it genuinely does go down to the last round. And there is genuinely 4 or 5... I mean, this championship now, if Dynamics and WS are all these massive teams, nobody would be shocked if either we or Power Max won it last year. Nobody would be shocked because the cars are prepared right. Everybody's got an equal playing field. The drivers do need a little bit of luck because it is bumper to bumper, but that's why people watch it. You know, you can't get smashed off and that ruin your weekend. But again, that's all part of it, you know, the reverse grade and everything else. It's just got this formula, which I do think people love watching. So, again, going into this year, I don't think there's a clear winner. I think there might be 5 or 6 people who could actually win the championship. But I don't think, like in other sports, I can almost tell you who's going to win the British Superbike Championship now. I'll tell you which 2 it's going to be. And I can tell you in MotoGP. And I can definitely tell you in Formula 1. But
there's no usual debate on that.
I couldn't tell you British touring cars, so maybe that's the attraction.
Martin, I mean, I can see here, obviously, this is a debate we love to have. I mean, what are you expecting from the final year before we go hybrid? Not just from your side, but from the sport in general.
Echoing Norm, really, you know, the racing is great. And what the fans want to see is the rubbing of door handles and, I would say, clean racing whilst rubbing door handles. You know, because nobody wants to be in the gravel. But the sport is so popular because people just enjoy a bit of crashing and banging whilst watching such close racing. There's nothing else like it. And then that does come down to, you know, the detail from the teams of preparation, reliability, and all those sorts of things. Because if you're in the mix for the championship and you've got one failure of you know, due to reliability, and that one is enough if it's in race 3, but if that happens to be in a race 1 of a weekend, the weekend's finished, and that's your championship assault almost over as well in a way. So, you know, diligence of everybody and preparation is key. And yes, there are some favourites, but we're all pushing so hard to be winning this thing and straight out of the blocks as well, really.
I love the fact that at this point in the season, we're still so early into a motor racing campaign. There are still so many questions that haven't even been written yet, never mind asked. And that's what I'm really excited to see. You know, this last transitional year should be another cracking year where we see everybody having a go at the front, all the drivers having an opportunity to win, and all of the fans getting what they are invested in the sport for. And that's what's always so wonderful about it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right. Guys, I wish we had all the time in the world to explore this further. For anybody who wants to pick the brains of Norman and Martin, they'll stick around a little longer in the chat so that you can obviously ask a few more questions. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait for the season to start. And I just wish I want to take this opportunity on behalf of everybody here today to thank you for all the hard work you do. As enthusiasts and lovers of the sport as a whole, we do love the touring cars. We love what it gives us as fans and passionate enthusiastics of the sport. and you wouldn't be any less appreciated if you won or lost. You know, we adore all the work that you put in. It is wonderful. We enjoy it. We live for it. And as much as you do, we are grateful for it. Thank you very much indeed for it.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.